We know from the double slit experiment when electrons are passed through the slit, we get a wave like something here, which means electrons behave like wave. But when we put some detector here, this wave field of electron collapses into a single particle, and we get something called like particle thing here, not a wave like pattern. What does it mean? It means when observed, the wave field of electron collapsed into a particle. That what we know from the double slit experiment, right? So and now what our Vedas say. From our Vedas, from our spiritual knowledge, we know that our consciousness isn't a person specific. Consciousness is eternal, and it is like if I draw something here, we know like consciousness is spread across everything. Spread it in the universe. We can say that consciousness is spread in the universe. There is what we call vibrationless consciousness. Vibrationless consciousness, what we call as Shiva. So Shiva basically means awareness. Awareness before everything, even before the space and time exist, before the creation of this universe, there was this vibrationless consciousness that wasn't vibrating, that is just aware, that is just conscious. And so we also call this consciousness as zero, shunya, because it is nothing. It was nothing before the creation of this world. It was nothing. It was just purely aware. It was purely conscious. And when what we call as Shakti or energy, what we call Shakti or energy, pure vibrations. Pure Shakti, pure vibrations, when met with this Shiva, when Shakti and vibrations met with Shiva, the creation took place. So, if I draw a diagram here, we can say that Shiva is outside this. Shiva is pure awareness, and this is Shakti, which is pure energy or vibrations. So when Shakti and Shiva met, creation took place. The awareness got filled into these vibrations, and from the double slit experiment, we know when a wave is observed, it collapses into a particle. It collapses into something. A wave collapses into something. So when Shiva, the pure awareness, started to observe this pure energy, that is pure vibrations, it collapses into something and the creation took place. What we perceive as mass here, like this notebook is mass. So what we perceive as mass, it is like the vibrations are collapsed under the observation of the awareness of Shiva. So everything, like this is Big Bang. This is Big Bang took place here, and everything created here, like solar systems, galaxies, stars, etc., etc. Our Earth and moon, sun, 9 planets, etc., etc. Today, science tells us that every particle is made up of vibrations. That is basically the string theory. Every particle is made up of vibrations, and vibrations are simply wave. The string theory tells us that there is something string that is vibrating. So this is what science tells us today, right? Now also one more thing that science tells us today, that is basically about mass. What gives a particular mass? Science tells us that there is something called Higgs field that is spread across whole the universe, and when something interacts with this Higgs field, it basically generates mass to the particle. So this Higgs field that is spread across the universe, according to science, can be the same awareness that is spread across all the universe, and that is observing everything. So basically Shiva is observing everything here. Shiva is observing this pure energy, and this pure energy gets collapsed into mass and creation took place. So everything built from this awareness. From the same source, that is Shiva. That is Shiva. From this same source of consciousness, every living being that we see here is his consciousness is from the same source, that is from Shiva. That is you, me, everyone, every person, every animal, and every plant. Basically every human being that is conscious, who is aware, his consciousness and aware is from the same source, that is from Shiva. Or we can say, Shiva is observing through our consciousness. What we call as our consciousness is basically Shiva's consciousness. So it means every human being, every person's consciousness is connected together to the same source. But we perceive our consciousness as different. This is basically due to the illusion that is being created here. Basically, we are living in an illusion. Illusion is created, like we have different bodies, we have different names, so we create an illusion for ourselves that we are different, our consciousness is different, and your consciousness is different from me, and every person's consciousness is basically different. We are different from this universe, and this universe is different from us, but that's not true. That's basically an illusion. If a person meditates hard, that's basically when a person give up on his thoughts, that he give up on his thoughts, on his personal thoughts that is generated by his mind, that when he stops thinking and he meditates, he feels a connection to this same awareness. So meditation makes us feel connected to everything. What we called as Aham Brahmasmi. Brahmasmi. Okay. Aham Brahmasmi. It means that whole universe is already in our consciousness. Whole universe is already in our consciousness, and what we see around us, what we experience around us, like space and time, and what we experience around us, like this is table, this is paper, this is solid mass, it is basically a byproduct of our consciousness. Like our consciousness creates that we are living here, and we are interacting with these things. So our consciousness is so strong that it creates a illusion around us that we are living in a real world. So what we perceive as real, we are living in. So what we perceive as real world is basically the vibrations, is basically the energies or vibrations created by our consciousness as solid and real stuff. So one more thing, so we know Shiva is vibrationless. Shiva is nothing. Shiva is pure awareness. Nothing. Pure awareness. It is pure awareness. So Shiva is basically zero. And Shakti or vibrations or energy is everything. So it can be noted as one. So this 0 and 1 together creates something vibrating, like we see in the digital realm, like in as a computer science students, we know every software, every program is basically is running through a 0 and 1, the digital bits, what we can say. So the world is also being created by these two things, 0 and 1, the awareness and the energy. So this 0 and 1 basically creates a sinusoidal wave, what we call in mathematics. If I draw the sinusoidal wave here like this, so this point is 0, this point is 1, at this point it is pure aware, and at this point this is pure energy, pure vibrations, or no, not vibration, pure energy, pure energy. Or if I draw this like something like this, if I draw it like this, we can say that these points where this wave, or let me draw this again here like a wave. These are the highest points of this wave, what we call crest, I don't know, maybe crest and trough, right? This is also crest. I have represented this wave like in this fashion, and I say, because we don't know exactly the nature of this wave, we cannot just merely represent it on pen or paper. Now I say that this point here, this at this point, this is highest potential energy wave. Like if I vibrate a string like this, the string will vibrate like this, right? And at this point this wave has highest potential energy. These are the points of highest potential energy, right, where there is no movement, or like there's no motion there, and we can perceive these points as Shiva. And when these transform like into kinetic energy, this is basically Shakti, or the